What career advice would you give to your younger self? Now, this question came up during the summer when I had the privilege and the opportunity to help coach and mentor some of our interns. The initial thought that came to mind, and it's all inside voice, I said, hey, I am not that old. All joking aside, I said, hey, try to find a company that has a mission that resonates with you. 2, and I'm quoting this from the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, who says, don't wait until your next job to do your best. And finally, be hard at work, because there's no substitution for hard work. Be hungry, be helpful, and finally, be humble. Now that I have an opportunity to reflect on this question a little bit more, I want to come back with a more comprehensive and a more of a decent response to the interns. With that, I'd like to draw your attention to my advice on career. C-A-R-E-E-R. The C stands for communication. Communication is the foundational, the building block for a successful career. Because the quality of our communication determines the quality of our career. My advice is to become an effective communicator, become an effective speaker or presenter. Now, you have probably heard of the saying that goes something like this: gifted speakers are born, but effective communicators are made. With that, as we progress in our career, it is important for us to understand when and how to ask the right question, frame it, contextualize it, and tailor the message to the right audience at the right time. When we tailor a message, we want to make sure the message is clear, which is easy to understand, concise, that it gets right to the point, complete, we're not omitting any facts, and it's correct. There's no bias, and it's current, up to date, and relevant. Now, the last thing I want to talk about communication is as we interact with more senior members of the organization, it is important for us to plan and prepare using this 3 A's, which I call triple A. The first A stands for anticipate. Always anticipate what they're thinking, what they're asking, what they're expecting, what their concerns and questions are. And then the second A is to analyze. Analyze the trends, the patterns, the risk, the impacts, the consequences, and the outcome. Third A is advice. Offer recommendations. Offer advice on the next step, the solutions that will help to address their concerns or any questions that they have. Next, the letter A. A stands for attitude. Now, Zig Ziglar says best that our attitude determines our altitude. The attitude that we have towards ourselves, our work, our company, and the people that we work with determines our effectiveness. With that, the attitude that we have will either push people away from us or bring people into our life. People react and respond based on how we show up, present ourselves, and project ourselves. So having the right and positive attitude is important. Our attitude determines how we approach things. For instance, with a positive attitude, we are more likely to accept and embrace change. Versus a negative attitude, we resist change. Also, with the right attitude, it helps us to navigate and traverse through some of the challenges, the conflicts, and any opportunities. Attitude is a choice, it's a mindset, it's a way of thinking. For instance, when we change our thinking, we change our beliefs. And when we change our beliefs, we change our expectations. And we change our expectations, we change our attitude. And when we change our attitude, we change our behaviors, which influence our action, and our action influence our performance, and our performance influence our results and our effectiveness. With that, always have a positive mental attitude. Next, the letter R stands for relationships. No matter where we are introverts or extroverts, we are all in the people business. Now, you may have heard that every business or every company is a software company. That is true, but technology and processes are enablers. They help us to be more efficient and effective at our job, but people are still at the heart of every company. When it comes to relationships, there are many different kinds of relationships, but I'm going to touch on 3 relationships that I think are important. The first, I call it the transient relationships. These are the relationships at the initial. There's no trust. It's very fluid. When you establish this relationship, people come and go. The second is what I call transactional relationships. These relationships are interdependent because they have mutual reliance where one person does something for someone else. Now, there's a little bit more trust in this relationship. Third, trusted relationships. These are relationships that have established over time. Now that we understand the 3 different types of relationships, where we go from transient with no trust to transactional, some trust, and trusted, the most trusted of all the 3. This book from Jim Collins, From Good to Great. In this book, I want to use this book here to illustrate the trust. Now, I want to use this book to illustrate the trusted relationships and the importance of that relationship. In his book, the author uses the bus analogy. He says that with a great vision, you need to have great people to realize that vision. You have to have the right people on the bus, but more importantly, you need to have the right people in the right seats and the wrong people off the bus. Because when you have the right people on the bus, you spend less time motivating or managing the people. Even if you have the great vision, but with the wrong people, you're not going to realize that great vision. But more importantly for me, I feel that having the right people in the right seat, you need to have the right relationships. You need to have that trust. So you need that trusted relationships in order to achieve greatness. With the relationships, I want to end by saying, make it positive, make it professional, and make it pleasant with every interaction and every relationship. Now I'd like to move into the next letter, which is E. Stands for enablement or enable. In order to have an impactful and meaningful career, make it a point to help enable, empower, equip, and encourage everyone around us to do their jobs, to be more effective, more efficient, and help them to achieve their goals, to achieve their aspirations, and help them to contribute to their highest and fullest potential. So the more people around us are successful, the more we are successful and our company is successful. Now moving on to the next letter E, it stands for education. Our learning ability determines our earning capacity. My advice is to become more valuable. We become valuable by adding value. We add value through our continuous learning. Last year, I had the opportunity to attend a conference, and the theme of the conference was better. The question was, what do you want to become better at? Not good, but take what you're already good at and become better. To choose one thing you want to become better. Be an expert. Be the best at your craft. We all heard of the growth mindset, but I want to point out as well, it's the beginner's mind. This originated from Zen Buddhism that says that when we approach a subject, always have curiosity without any preconceptions about the subject. Be open, be curious, curiosity, Be curious, ask the questions, and always challenging the status quos and norms. Now, I'd like to close out the education with John Maxwell's book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. He talks about the law of the lid. The law of the lid states that our effectiveness has a direct correlation to our ability to lead, meaning that if our lid, which is our leadership lid, if it's a 5, then our team that we lead, they cannot rise higher than a 5. It's based on our leadership ability. Now, in order for us to add more value and become more valuable, we need to continue to learn and grow ourselves. So when we grow to a 7, for instance, then our team and the organization has the ability to rise along with us. Because what he talks about here is that everything falls and rises under a leader. So as a leader of an organization, we need to continue to grow our ability. And finally, the letter R. R stands for reflection. Now, I like this quote. This quote said that honest self-reflection opens up our mind to reprogramming, change, success, and freedom. Reflection and introspection gives us more insight about ourselves, about what we did well, what we didn't do well, and what areas we need to course correct in order to move in the right directions. For instance, when we started out our career, maybe our focus was on money and position. But as we progress in our career, our focus can shift to more on meaning and purpose. So I like to end with this Chinese proverb that says, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Sometimes in this journey, we may need to actually take a step back in order to move forward. So it's important for us to make some time to self-reflect. So in closing, I'd like to share that based on my research, it shows that when it comes to promotion, managers and leaders look for these 4 key areas. 1, it's prioritize and get your work done well. 2, that is to have a positive attitude. 3, that is to work well with others. And 4, put your team's interests before yours. With that, we just cover these 3 areas: positive attitude, relationships, at the same time, put the team ahead of you, enable people. So when you take care of care, C-A-R-E, everything else takes care of itself. With that, I hope my career advice on communications, attitude, relationships, enable, education, and reflection is helpful. Now with that, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please do so. I look forward to speaking with you in the next video.